Oh, hi there. I wanted to talk about a bit more about my experience with venlafaxine. I made a video just over 2 weeks ago. Been taking it a couple days before that, so just over 2 weeks I've been taking it. I've briefly read the propaganda web pages that are available on the Google. Um, And I had a question for it because I actually, I have some legitimate concerns about this medication. And, I've tried watching some of the other people make videos about it, and I was crying and whining and things like that, going, oh, I feel more depressed, or this, that, and the other, or I'm crying a lot, or some whiny problem. And this is coming from a guy who has ongoing sore throat for 5 years, and my doctors are still like, well, I don't know. Yeah, you do. You're just a lying asshole. What do you think about that? Anyway, so I check out their first propaganda page, and it says, oh, it's supposed to do this, and they ask the same typical questions and give the same answers. It's just propaganda paper is all it is. So anyway, I wanted to ask, is this stuff addictive? And the first web result on the Google says, no, absolutely not. This medication is not addictive, although there could be withdrawal symptoms should you stop taking it immediately. And the second result says, caution, venlafaxine is highly addictive. And you read it, and essentially it's a front. It's like a bogus forum that it wasn't a real one. It was written by people who are going to go, look, they're not going to believe us when we say that it's not addictive. And I can tell you that I am taking the bare minimum dose, according to them, which is 37.5 milligrams of the stuff. And it's not a withdrawal type thing or anything like that. It is like physically there's something that is addictive about it. I'm not going to um, start taking more venlafaxine. Actually, as a matter of fact, first time around I was prescribed this. I was supposed to take it for a week at 37.5, and then the next week I was supposed to jump up to 75, or 2 tablets a day. Um, and I did that for about a week and a half, and I went, "This is a punch of shit," and I threw it away. Um, however, at 37.5, I have felt a bit of a difference. I felt a little bit better, I suppose. I've been able to make some lengthy YouTube videos, which I would enjoy doing. That is very therapeutic for me. Not the medication, the being able to make YouTube videos. I really enjoy doing that. The medication, and I think I touched base on this in the other video I made about venlafaxine, was I was told that my sore neck, and when you got a sore neck, you don't want to do anything, um, that anxiety can manifest itself physically. I'm pretty sure I did mention that. And anyway, that's not what happened with me. It was medication I had to take from before. Anyway, getting back to them saying, oh, this medication is highly addictive on the second page, and it was written not by patients, because usually patients that fall into this trap are a bunch of idiots anyway, and I can't string two words together. So it was definitely written by some sort of creepy bureaucrat. Anyway, first one's guy saying, oh, yeah, I was on 37.5, and I was, I was addicted, blah, blah, couldn't get off of it. And you look at their regular page, and they're saying the average dosage per day for extended release capsules is 225 milligrams per day. So obviously the second page. This guy's, he's fudging the lines. Um, he wasn't, getting all these sorts of problems on just 37.5, and he didn't really explain how long he'd been on the medication for. And I mean, they told me a year. They told me a year, minimum a year, and I went, yeah, yeah, good luck with that. You're not going to persuade me. I know how these people lie, and I know why they do, and it just doesn't work on me. I don't believe what they have to say half the time. I know that's not what they want to hear, but they can go fuck themselves. Um, yeah, so they were complaining about brain zaps. Um, and yeah, on the forum, a lot of bitching, going, oh no, I'm depressed now. Oh no, what was the word he used? Listlessness. I had to look that up because I wasn't sure what that was. And that's, a lackluster for life and things like that. And you don't have any interest, don't have anything going on. You're a boring ass person with a loser life. I'm not a boring ass person with a loser life, so I don't have that problem. Uh, okay. And, there was all kinds of crying and, oh no, I'm suffering from anxiety and mood disorders and all that kind of shit, right? And it's just like, no, no, you're not. You were just not in a good frame of mind, and you were looking for answers, and you thought that your healthcare provider had them for you. No, they didn't. They just had a pile of shit for you to take. It made things worse. Uh, and as I said, I wouldn't even be taking this shit. It's just, I got this neck thing going on, and it's not going away, and I don't have a choice. But I'm sure as hell not taking it in the hundreds of milligrams like one of my doctors had suggested, or actually more than suggested. The doctor was going on about, oh, we need to get you up to X amount. I believe she just had it in the hundreds of milligrams. And I was like, no, not on your career. Not on your career. Those are harsh words. Um, I did ultimately agree to taking it though, but obviously at 37.5, and now it's been over 2 weeks. I've not increased the dosage, but I have noticed that it does have addictive qualities to it that they had to mention, which is why it's on the second search on the Google search engine. It's the second result and not on the first. The first one's denying that it's there, but they go, well, people aren't gonna believe us, so we're gonna put the second one, but kind of put it as the patient saying it, and we're gonna throw in some facts, or not facts, but like we're gonna have them say things that are not accurate. And if somebody goes to complain to pharmacist, healthcare provider, whatever, they're just they're going to sound like they've been reading the conspiracy pages and they don't know what they're talking about, and the doctor will be easily able to dismiss these claims. So they put in little words like, oh, they were becoming addicted on 37.5, which is true, but they want you to take it in the hundreds of milligrams. So you go to them and say, look, I feel some sort of, I don't I couldn't even describe what kind of a feeling to take this medication, and you're only on 37.5. They're gonna go, nope, that's you're not anything. It's just the medicine's taking its effect, and your body's metabolizing to it, or whatever the shit thing they're gonna say, and then they're like, well, for it to work better, for it to work properly, and to really help you, you got to increase your dosage. And this is keeping in mind that this is a load of shit. I thought that this stuff was a load of shit before I took it, and now that I am taking it, I still think it's a load of shit. Uh, and I have this thing. I don't know if other people have this kind of thing where they don't like becoming physically dependent on stuff that's a load of shit. Don't know if I can get anyone to agree with me on that one. Um, yeah, it's just this stuff's a load of junk. And I found inconsistencies in it. Uh, like I was opening capsules just to have a look inside because they say well if you're having trouble swallowing it you can put it on applesauce. I don't know why that would be a thing. I guess if a lot of people they prescribe it to a lot of people who have esophageal cancer or some shit like that. I mean, I know I don't have that, but I'm just saying. They had made it a point that to say it several times that if you're having trouble swallowing it, it's not a very big pill either. That you can empty the contents of the capsule and put it in applesauce and eat it like that. So either they're prescribing it to really old people or someone with really bad esophagus problems or things like that. And so this medication and the inconsistencies I saw with it are in the amounts of the little I don't know what you call them, little pebbles or whatever that are inside. There would be more in some and less than others, and it'd be like 20 of these little things too. It's a tedious little fucking task to have a look at that stuff. It's really irritating. I don't know if I mentioned this in that other video or not, but I'm mentioning it again now. But the thing is, it's got to be based on weight. So these people they don't make mistakes in that regard because you can OD on this stuff. I don't know what that would entail. Don't want to find out what that would entail, but I would assume it's bad town. I would assume that's it's just like something you do not want to experience. Won't kill you probably, but you know what? I'm not going to find out. So. But it does say that on their site that sorry, if you suspect someone has overdosed or whatever, blah 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 blah, this that and the other, and that's not a concern of mine. I know what's going to happen when I go to see my doctor. They're going to be like, "Well, we'd like you to take more," and I'm going to be like, "Nope, not happening." Uh, and then the usual, oh but it'll work better, oh this that and the other, and you won't get the full effect of it if you don't take X amount and things like that. And I went, look, I just went through a friggin' nightmare with psychiatric medication that I didn't have a choice of taking. From my point of view, I don't think I needed to take it, but one can't self-diagnose. But the fact that they're pushing medication and lying about it, it may be, part of their job description, and they know the medication's a bunch of shit, and they know someone like me has gone through the ringer in the medical system. From my point of view, I mean, because if I'm not allowed to self-diagnose, I don't think they should be, if you want my honest opinion. Or at least, I should be allowed to have an opinion about them. And I'm going, if they're pushing this shit, so essentially just, starting the wheels of abuse all over again for no good reason other than purely financial profit share motive, um, then I think they're the ones that may have some sort of neurological disorder. I mean, think about it. Why would you want to be a practitioner anyway? Like, I ain't want to shove my hand up some dude's ass. Check their prostate. I didn't even like. I wouldn't admit this to people, but I had to have that done, just quickly, by a doctor because I had an internal hemorrhoid. I couldn't feel it, but there was a substantial amount of blood on the tissue when I went to go wipe, and I went, "Whoop, this doesn't look good." Is it because of all this shitty medication that I've been taking? Is it because of the sit-ups I've been doing? Um, I don't think I ate anything sharp, but I don't know. So I went and asked the doctor, and he was, he did the quick check, and he went, "Nope, it's normal." And I was actually taken to specialists, and they were a bit enthusiastic about the endoscopy, and I was just like, no, I am not contributing to the scientific medical journal if I don't have to. Because he did say, look, 99.9% this is just an internal hemorrhoid that you can't feel. I know that would be a bit of an embarrassing thing for some people to say, and they just they wouldn't they wouldn't talk about it. But guess what? If you're a man, you gotta go have your prostate checked. I ain't dying of prostate cancer, okay? It's not sneaking up on me. You want to be like Hank Hill and, just ignore the problem, then go ahead. But that isn't happening to me. A few seconds of being in an uncomfortable social situation is something you gotta sacrifice. Um, anyway, I I rejected the endoscopy because in older years, and I don't know exactly when, but I would assume 20 years, 30 years and down the road, when I'm older person, I would suppose that'd be medically necessary. But me at 31 years of age, no, no, it isn't. And I already made a video telling you about what I think about that sort of stuff. And, of course, you can't question these bureaucrats about those sort of things because they're just trained to deny everything. Deny, make up excuses, tell their rhetoric, and run. That's all they know how to do. You can't confront them with what you believe to be facts because if they are legitimate concerns and you illustrate or speak properly to tell them, they don't want to hear it. They only want to hear about your complaints and things like that if you're going, oh no, I've got terrible anxiety. Oh no, the world is such a scary place. Even when I'm in the park with flowers and chirping birds and sunshine, it's still, oh, it's too overwhelming. Oh no, I can't get on a bus. There's so many people on there. What if someone's, coughs or something and he's got SARS? No, I'm not afraid of those sort of things. So I'm not going to be like, 99% of the other, douchebags that have to take this venlafaxine. Uh, as I said, if I didn't have a sore neck, I wouldn't take it at all. I don't have that neurological problem. I got a physical ailment, and that was deliberately given to me because of that shitty medication I took before. Um, and obviously, if I had to take this shit for a year at the hundreds of milligrams per day dosage, yeah, I would presume that would create withdrawal symptoms in anyone. And it's few and far between where I've seen anyone comment on a YouTube video or anything like that saying, "Oh, I've been on it 10 years, no problem." Shut up. Um, okay, so that's a thing. My sleep. I'm sleeping a little bit more, which is good because antipsychotic medication fucks with your sleep big time, and well after you stop taking it. I mean, I don't, it's not the same thing, but I was, obviously I was taking whatever doses they said I was. They lied to me on so many occasions, I don't even really know, which will bring me to another point momentarily. I'd spent a number of years taking hundreds of milligrams per 2 weeks of antipsychotic medication. And, obviously we're getting on 18 months since I've stopped taking it. Psychologically, perfectly fine. Physically, not as nearly as good as I would like to be. Like, I'm the kind of guy, I'd be going to the gym every damn day and, you know, going out and doing things, and also, well, getting back to work would be good too. But yeah, right now I physically just can't do it. I can't control when I go to sleep, when I'm awake. Not to the extent that I want to, and I really try hard to. It's not possible. Like when my body tells me it's time to go to sleep, and that could be at any time, There's no discussion. I go, oh, lay down on the bed for 5 minutes, and I wake up and it's 5 hours later, and I'm making a YouTube video at 2:20 in the morning. That's just kind of how it works. Okay, so all right. The other point I was going to make, which was, oh, what was it? Damn it! It was a damn good one too. Oh, right. Um, the I was questioning the strength of the antipsychotic medication. Not only that, but also supposedly I was on the same one for all those years. But why did it, like morph in the sense of the side effects? Because at first it was all sleepiness, messed up leg, like, because my leg would stiffen up if I walked too much, which didn't take much at all, and a handful of other problems. And then some of those problems remained uh, when I switched health districts, but other things came about, like insomnia, the inability to sleep, and that's a bunch of bullshit right there. And so I'm going, well, they're lying about that. So who am I to trust them when they're telling me, oh, you're getting this amount or you're not or whatever? Because they assume that you don't have the cognitive function, and they don't have to talk to you. Therefore, they can do whatever they want and treat you like an idiot. They like that. They love that. They hate it when people have a brain and start questioning them. But anyway, just pitching this as an idea. Supposing, because as I said, I took venlafaxine before, a week and a half, didn't feel much of it, and I, thought it was a bunch of bullshit, and I stopped taking it. This time around, I tell my doctor, look, I'm only taking this because I have a sore neck, and this is the only shit that you're offering to fix the problem, and they won't even admit if it'll fix the problem or not. Um, so I'm going, fine, play by your rules, but I'm only taking 37.5. He gives me 3 weeks worth, okay? So theoretically, I'm supposed to go back. And, they wanted me to take this for years, or at least a year, and in the hundreds of milligrams. Supposing, as a hypothetical, they decided, or they just want to believe, especially the medical board, not necessarily my doctor directly, but the medical board, the medical system above them, wants to believe that Ryan doesn't have the cognitive function to decide for himself. And because he doesn't, and because he shows resistance to the idea that this medication will be helping him, therefore he could be problematic. What if we just make the dosage more concentrated? He doesn't have a scientific chemical UBC degree. He's not going to be able to tell the difference if there's if the little pebbles as I described are of higher concentration or not. And don't give me that shit that fucking pharmacies and big pharma wouldn't pull something like that. Um, because that's just a total crock and completely within their capability and not difficult for them to do. So yeah, they go ahead and make the decision. Well, if Ryan will not agree to taking a higher dosage, we'll just increase the strength of and label it as 37.5 and stick to the story. And if he questions it, will say, no, you're paranoid, and they have a set of excuses as to why that would be. They're like, well, you took it before, and this was like 6, 8 months ago for a week and a half, and now that you've taken it again, there's certain cells in your body or some shit like that. They wouldn't say it like that. They'd have different terminology, but you kind of get what I'm saying here. And they would have an excuse for them saying, uh, Ryan is taking the same amount, even though I'm not, and they'd lie right to my face. I've seen them lie right to my face about stupid things that I was easily going to find out. So if they're going to lie about little things, they're most certainly going to lie about big things. And I've always looked at them like that, and it's just like, all right, you got you got another guy over here that doesn't trust you and knows what your rhetoric is about. It don't matter how often you say it, it don't matter how loud you say it, you're not going to convince me. You're nowhere near intelligent enough, and your communication skills are poor. And the fact that you don't want to explain it is because you don't have a reasonable explanation that somebody like me is going to believe. And I'm going, I ain't got no fancy education and university and things like that. I thought you fellas were supposed to be a bit smarter than you are. Don't seem that damned intelligent to me, if you want my 2 cents on the subject. um, so yeah, distinct possibility that there's a concentrated dose of this particular 37.5, and they'll never admit that. Um, but physically, I can feel their medication hitting me, much stronger than before. And although I have taken it for a longer period now, because I took it for a week and a half before, and now I've taken it just over 2 weeks. Although for the week and a half, the half week, I took the two 37.5 milligrams. And, I would figure that would be, about the same, but whatever. I'm sure there's some explanation as to why it isn't. Um, but I'm not ruling it out that they've, put stronger venlafaxine pebbles into this 37.5 milligram and just straight up lied to me about it. I wouldn't put it past them. It's definitely a theory, and I know they would just lie about it if confronted. That's their modus operandi. That's how they work. Unfortunately, we live in a society where a lot of people lie all the time, and that's just part of their job, is part of what they have to do. And sometimes it's not personal, sometimes they enjoy lying. Some people can't go through life without lying. And I don't have that problem. I think it's a neurological illness in itself if you have to go through lying all the time, because a lot of people who start lying all the time start believing their lies. I'm sure that these healthcare professionals don't believe their own lies, but they also believe in their paycheck, and their employers are telling them to pitch this bullshit story. And as I said, I went through the ringer with mental health, so I'm not putting up with their shit. Uh, Bare minimum. Supposing this stuff does alleviate my sore neck, I'm dropping it so fast after that is remedied itself. And I'm just saying, supposing it fixes my sore neck. If that takes a couple of months, 6 months, maybe even a year, whatever, but it's gonna be at 37.5. And, you know, um, obviously they want me to take more of this stuff, and I'm at the point where I had been taking it long enough that if I went back there and said, "Oh, I don't think this is quite working the way I wanted it to," they would offer to prescribe me a stronger dosage of it. Except I ain't gonna say that because it's a bunch of shit, as I have said multiple times in this video. And yeah, it's not what they want to hear. Not what they want to hear at all. It's $1 billion industry. I wouldn't know that on my little bit of paper I got when I saw the bill, because evidently it cost, there was the handling fee that the pharmaceutical company had, and I forget exactly what the number was, but it was something like insignificant on the venlafaxine. But it's $1 billion industry, right? You look at it like they prescribe it everywhere, and obviously they're fiddling with the numbers and misrepresenting the facts to the public so that people don't know nothing. And obviously, this shit has been pushed through legislation and become popularized amongst doctors and their modus operandi and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, is it really good for the people, or is it just because some asshole on Big Pharma's got leverage, up in the ivory tower. Makes you wonder. Um, the screen went off again. Tends to do that at the half-hour point, or at the half-hour point. Um, so, okay, there are times of the day where I'm able to make YouTube videos for a bit longer, but there still are plenty of times of the day where I feel like absolute shit and I can't make a YouTube video. Or else, believe me, I'd probably be making 6 hours worth of YouTube videos a day. Well, assuming I wasn't back at work and, doing regular things. But, because right now, even how I feel physically right now, like I couldn't be in a work environment based on physical issues, not anxiety issues or anything like that. Because my job involves me being out in the public and doing things like that, and I'm used to it. It's just like whatever, man. But I got these are physical ailments, most especially in my neck, that inhibit me from going back. That's the real reason, and the reason why I had to take this shitty medication, venlafaxine, in the first place. And there are other factors that are going on that could contribute to stress. Uh, I have, opinions about that. I'll make a separate video about that because there's some really screwed up people on the internet. Like, damn, where do these people come from? I don't know, but that'll be a different video because it does have something to do with this whole situation, but it's not indicative towards this particular video and what I want to do with it. So anyway, I'm gonna taper this video off. Closing statement. If you physically don't have to take this medication, do not. If you're just a crying, whining little bitch who's got anxiety and things like that, and you don't actually have a good reason for having those reasons, don't take it. Get your mind out of the fucking gutter and do something constructive. Do something to make your life better. And you will see results much faster than you will by taking this shit venlafaxine. And you won't have to go through any of the physical hardship of what this shit does to people. And it does it to everybody. I don't care if you're fucking King Kong and you're 6'6", or you're 5'10". This shit hits you like a sack of fucking potatoes. Anyway, talk to you guys later. And for those people who don't like this video because they don't like my opinion, evidently I'm not allowed to have that anymore. Fuck off.